Powered by Riverside FM.
Powered by Riverside.
Welcome to another edition of Unconventional Playbook, the UP. And it is a wonderful, wonderful Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the wonderful dads out there that are unsung heroes. Happy Father's Day to you. Just a fantastic day. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to play a little game. We're going to do this a lot with a variety of different topics. But it's meant to be fun and put you in a little bit of a quandary and allow you to think a little bit on various topics. We're going to play a little game. We're going to try to do it weekly. We're going to have guests on the show. My guy, the sports guru of Minnesota, Patrick Buchanan, is going to be on future shows, as I said, and we're just going to keep building his family. Like, you'll never know who's going to show up on the show. Well, the game or the topic that we're going to play today is called Start One, Bench One, Cut One, Erase One. Here's how the game goes. We're going to give you 4 topics, 4 things, maybe 4 individuals each week. And you're going to have to figure out if you would start it, if you would bench it, if you would cut it, or if you would just erase it from the record books, non-existent. So here's how the game goes. If you really like someone, the term is start one, but that means you really, really like that person, or you would rank whatever that subject is number 1. So we just use the term start. Then there may be a close second in terms of a ranking in whatever subject that we bring up. You'll choose to bench that person. It's probably not your favorite person or thing, but it's a close second. And if you didn't have that thing or person that is number 1 ranked, then that bench person or whatever subject we're talking about could easily be a number 1. The number 3 thing is cut one. So if you cut this person, it's not necessarily that you don't like this person or like this thing, but you just don't need this thing because you got 2 things ranked higher than it. So you would cut one. And then the 4th spot is probably going to be the hardest decision that you have to make, and that's to erase this thing from existence. If it's a topic or a subject, if it's a player, then you're choosing to erase all of their records from the record books, like they never existed. So that's the game. Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. That's the game. So today, we're going to give you 4 basketball players. We're going to talk about these 4. And we're going to have to make a decision here on whether we would start this person, bench this person, cut this person, or erase this person from the record books. Now, here's what I want. I want this to be interactive. So, UP Nation, give me your thoughts and ideas on who you would start, bench, cut, and erase. Put them in the comments. It's going to be fun. So I think this thing could really, really take off. So here are the 4 basketball players that we are going to consider. All 4 are from the NBA. And the NBA season is still going on. We got game 5 of the NBA Finals coming up. Here are the 4 players that we're going to consider. Number 1, Steph Curry, shooter extraordinaire. Some people argue that he's the best shooter to ever play in the NBA. Second person, Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, one of the most popular Lakers ever. Multiple championships with the Lakers. So you got Steph Curry, you got Kobe Bryant. Third person on my list, LeBron James, King James, the chosen one. Okay? Won a championship in Miami, won a championship in Cleveland, won a championship in Los Angeles during COVID in the bubble. Last player we're going to consider is Michael Jordan. For all intents and purposes, people think that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, greatest of all time. So there are your 4. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry. Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you cut? Who would you erase from the record books? Man, this is hard. Man, this is hard. You look at Michael Jordan, every NBA Finals that he was in, he was an MVP. And although he's not at the top of the all-time scoring list like LeBron is, I think he's probably impacted the game more than any player in the history of the NBA. I mean, when Michael Jordan was at his peak, you got the commercials, hey, I want to be like Mike. You got the Jumpman paraphernalia brand that he did, High Flying Mike, the slam dunk contest. You know, again, all the championships. Then he takes a year off to go play baseball for the Chicago White Sox. He actually stops playing basketball and goes play baseball for the Chicago White Sox, then comes back and wins more championships. Pretty much did all of his damage with the Chicago Bulls. At the end of his career, played 2 years, I believe, with the Washington Wizards. And during those 2 years, he wasn't the same Michael Jordan that he was with the Chicago Bulls. He's a little bit pudgy, didn't have the air that he had when he was in Chicago, couldn't really leave the ground. He was just a different Michael Jordan. I try to put that Michael Jordan out of my head. Most people consider him the GOAT. Then you got LeBron James, who's probably, and I don't even put probably on it, probably the most complete player to ever play this game, one of the best athletes to play this game, the freight train. He's had championships with every organization that he's ever played in. Miami Heat, Cleveland Cavaliers, Los Angeles Lakers. All-time leading scorer in NBA history. And like the other guys that are being considered on this list, those guys are scorers. Not that they don't have other stats in other places, but you consider Kobe a scorer. You consider Michael Jordan a scorer. You consider Steph Curry a scorer. LeBron James is a scorer, but he gives you stats in other areas. He's a rebounder. He's been on the All-NBA defensive team multiple times. He has great vision. He has one of the highest assist rates in the league. And then there is the championship. He's also, in my opinion, a force multiplier, meaning when he steps on the floor, he makes everybody around him better. Now, that doesn't mean it always equates into championships, but I can honestly say if you dropped LeBron James on the worst team in the league, that team instantly is in the playoffs conversation. Any team in the league. They may not be considered for a championship. Like, he's not that. But what he is if you drop LeBron James on the team, that team automatically is relevant right away. Kobe Bryant is one of the most fierce competitors ever. The Black Mamba, competitive edge like no one else. His numbers speak for themselves. The impact that he made on the Lakers is really second to none. I mean, you've got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you got Magic Johnson. Those were all great Lakers. But there was just something about Kobe. And I know people put Magic up there. You know, I can't even argue with Magic Johnson because I'm a Magic Johnson fan. Hell, when I was in high school, I used to wear the shoes, the Magic Johnson shoes. He was my favorite player in the NBA growing up. But I look at the body of work of Kobe and then how he left the game, last game, dropping 61 in his last game. And then came the day of his tragic death in a helicopter crash. You've got the statues on the outside of the stadium. Kobe Bryant made such an impact on the NBA and especially the city of Los Angeles and never moved, never went to another team. Always a Laker, bled purple and gold. LeBron is playing for the Lakers now, but I'm willing to bet you that if you were to poll the majority of Laker fans, not that they don't love LeBron, but LeBron is kind of that outsider that's playing for the Lakers now. Kobe is so entrenched in the Lakers culture. It's a place where LeBron just hasn't been able to get. They like LeBron, but they don't like LeBron like Magic and Kobe. I think that's safe to say. Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors, huge part of that dynasty. Steph Curry was a great shooter in college, but I never would have imagined that he would come out and make the impact that he's made on the game of basketball. I mean, you can argue when Steph Curry and those guys came in at their peak, they changed the game and how it's played. You see more young players that are coming up and developing, standing behind the three-point line and shooting threes. Threes have become really sexy. You even have bigs stretching the floor, trying to step out and shoot threes. More teams systematically is installing threes into concepts of their offense where they have to hit a certain amount of threes a game. They want to transition the ball up and hit a certain amount of threes. This stuff happened post Steph Curry. He didn't invent the three, of course, but he definitely enhanced the three, of course. And then you have the multiple championships. Now, the Golden State Warriors have fallen off a little bit since the Golden State Warriors' dramatic run. They've added Andrew Wiggins. Draymond Green is getting a little bit older. Klay Thompson's getting a little bit older. They really don't have that force in the middle. But man, when Golden State was hot, they were hot. So my question becomes to UP Nation out there, and those of you that are tuning in for the first time and listening, you look at those four icons, and that's what they are, icons. You can only put one in each category. Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you cut? And who would you erase from the record books? That's hard, man. As I sit here and think about it, that's hard. But this game is supposed to be hard. This type of show, we're going to do this a lot. It's supposed to be hard. You got to break things down. Well, for me, I can't wait to hear the comments and see what other people choose. For me, I'm going to start with who I'm going to start. And I would have to say there's no one greater There's no one that has made more of an impact on the NBA and the game of basketball than Michael Jordan. He would have to be my starter. I mean, Jordan has been retired for a long time now. People are still talking about him. His sneaker brand is just as popular. His Jumpman brand is taking off. And he is universally known as the GOAT by most people. So he would have to be my starter. Michael Jordan is just second to none. So probably out of all the picks, that is probably my easiest pick. So Jordan's my starter. Now I got to figure out, who am I going to bench? You got Kobe, you got Steph Curry, you got LeBron James. This is tough. The fandom in me loves Kobe Bryant. Oh, big fan. Kobe, when Kobe came after you, he came after. One of the greatest Lakers of all time, when he and Shaq were playing together. When Kobe was healthy, there wasn't a better player in the league, dominant. Black Mamba. Those of you who are young that really didn't have an opportunity to see Kobe Bryant play, YouTube it, Google it. Love Kobe. So the emotion in me wants to slot him in at number 2 as a bench play. But then you look at LeBron. How do you cut or erase the all-time leading scorer of the NBA? How do you cut or erase his statistics in the area of rebounding, in the area of defending, in the area of assists? Kobe didn't have those. Kobe was good and adequate in those categories, but he wasn't, over a long period of time, LeBron James. LeBron James is 38 and still going strong, playing 30-plus minutes a game and dropping 30 in the playoffs. How do you cut or erase LeBron James? And the reason why I'm focusing on those two categories, because if you don't bench LeBron James, you're either cutting him or you're erasing him from the record books. You can't erase him from the record books. That would be blasphemous. And I don't think you would cut, arguably, someone that's in the conversation for the GOAT. So I know what my emotions are for Kobe Bryant. But man, when you're doing this and you're reflecting, you got to do the right thing. So I would have to slot LeBron James into the bench category. If I couldn't have MJ and I couldn't have Michael Jordan, I would have to go to LeBron James. Even though my emotions are not there. Like, I'm not a huge LeBron James fan. I'm more of a Kobe fan and a Michael Jordan fan than LeBron James. But you have to respect LeBron James' work. So now you got 2 left. Kobe, Steph Curry. It's tough, man. It's tough. Because the person you don't choose no longer exists in the record books. It's gone. Never existed. So this is tough. We've talked about Kobe enough, but let's go to Steph Curry, someone who has changed the culture of the game. It has been said that he is the best shooter to ever play. I 1000% agree with that. Have you seen some of Steph Curry's warm-up videos? Him shooting from the hallway that leads to the locker room, him hitting 100 threes in a row. The games where he has just torched teams from the three-point line. Heck, when you talk about Caitlin Clark, who is she compared to? She's the female version of Steph Curry. The championships he's won. He made an organization that had never been relevant for a long time. Here comes Steph Curry. Changes the whole dynamic of that. You got kids stepping behind the three-point line, shooting three-pointers. Are you going to erase all of that? If he's not third, are you going to erase all of that? But you can argue the same thing with Kobe Bryant, all the things that he's done for NBA basketball. I don't think you can go wrong anyway here. But the word erase is strong because the person you don't choose is going to get erased. So I can't imagine a league without the presence of Kobe Bryant. And the only reason why you would put him in the cut category is because you have the all-time leading scorer ever in the history of the game and his body of work. And then you have the GOAT in Michael Jordan. So if those are your 1 and 2 spots, Kobe has to be third out of the 4 that's considered. And that makes Steph Curry a casualty because the first 3 are so great. But I give Kobe the edge over Steph Curry, which means Steph Curry is erased from the record books. Start 1, bench 1, cut 1, erase 1. Tough topic. We're going to do a lot of these. And I can't wait to hear some of the feedback that I get from these shows because these are going to be fun shows. We got a lot of topics that we're going to run through. Some days it may be movies. Some days it may be food. Right now it's NBA basketball. We may go NFL. A lot of topics you could throw in there. We're going to make it as hard as we can on you, but we would love your comments and what your thoughts are. Give me your thoughts. Out of the 4 players that we named today, who would you start? Who would you bench, cut, and erase from the record books? This was fun. I got to get my guy, the guru of Minnesota sports, Mr. Patrick Buchanan, on one of these shows so I can pick his brain a little bit about some of these categories. Appreciate you listening. Hope all of you are having a fantastic Father's Day. This has been the UP, and I will see you when I see you.
Powered by Riverside.